This is Robert with RC Archery, and this video is going to be about relaxed shot. So a lot of that's a misconception, and a lot of people misinterpret what people say when they say have a relaxed shot. I have a lot of archers that I work with, and things that you read and see and hear people talk about, and they say, oh, I have this relaxed shot, but it feels like I'm pulling and pulling, or it feels like the shot never wants to go off, or I miss here, I miss to the right, or just different things like that. So I want to talk about that for a minute, just talk about what it is, the correct way of going about it, and then just some misconceptions and the wrong ways to go about it too. So when we talk about a relaxed shot, we're actually just talking about having a relaxed shot in the correct areas, meaning bow hands relaxed. You don't have a lot of extra tension in that. You're not carrying tension in your neck, in your shoulders, tops of your shoulders here. You're not really stiff, rigid, forcing the bow to do different things. You're not, forcing the arm to stay, really rigid and try to control that dot and just, death grip on the bow, anything like that. So when we talk about relaxed shot, we're talking about relaxed bow hand, relaxed here in the arm as far as, not trying to control everything, not trying to push the dot into the middle and then pop a shot off there, or anything like that. We're talking about having relaxed neck, relaxed shoulders, because what that's doing is you're generating the tension that's up here and you're driving it into your back, which is your larger muscle group. That's going to help you hold steadier on target. And then we're talking about, having a relaxed release arm, release hand to where allow it to do its job, whether that be you let it stretch to execute a shot, rotate a fingers to execute the shot, pull through the shot, and kind of however you want to do it. But having a relaxed muscle group through here, not so relaxed where you're letting go of the release, make sure you can still keep that U shape or J shape or however people want to say it on the release. You're actually holding it with your fingers, but you're allowing your arm not to create a lot of extra tension like you're squeezing something or like you're trying to make a fist. That's something that you want to stay away from. When we talk about weak shots and strong shots, a lot of the times when people try to have a relaxed shot, they'll end up having weak shots, just meaning that they're not keeping bone-on-bone contact throughout their release arm, so their bow arm, so they're not keeping their arm out. And then on the release side, they're not driving that tension into their back to hold that release arm back and to use the body structure to keep everything in place. So what that does is it creates a weak shot in two different ways. One of the ways is you can just allow your body to collapse. So you'll notice that you've got your bow arm out here, but you don't have bone-on-bone contact. Maybe the shoulders driven up, or you're not set up correctly. So what you'll do is you'll start to come together. The bow will collapse you like an accordion. There's a lot of forces on the bow trying to collapse your body, and that bone-on-bone contact, and then using your back to hold your release arm back and hold tension against the bow, and then using that bone-on-bone contact on the front end is what keeps everything separate. It's what keeps you apart. It helps combat those forces from the bow trying to pull your body apart. So a lot of times you'll see people, they'll relax and maybe their release arm, is coming forward on their face. Maybe they're creeping, maybe they're having problems like that. On the bow side, the arm can be drifting to the right. A lot of people start doing that. They start seeing weird stuff in their peep. Their peep's moving out of center because their body is collapsing, and then they're moving their head, or they're trying to move around and do stuff. So that's something to look for to combat that. Like I said, you want to have good bone-on-bone structure, and you want to use the correct muscles. So you want to keep locked out, not hyperextended, not anything crazy like that. But as I talked about in my form video, just keeping a good setup here on the front end, to where you've got bone-on-bone structure and you can actually feel it pushing back into your body. So you want to feel it pushing back into the socket joint here for your shoulder, pushing back into your shoulder and your back, to where you can feel it there, and it's not trying to pull your arm this way or that way. You're actually holding it straight out. And then on the release side, obviously draining the tension out of the neck and the shoulders, putting it into the back, and allowing that back to just lock you in, and actually loading it so where you feel the muscles here in your back. So these muscles right in here in this area, you'll feel that when you get up to full draw, you'll lock them in place, and it'll push up against the spine almost, or it'll start pushing in that direction. And that's what your back tension comes from. It's not going to be from the muscles up here. When they come from the muscles up here, it's because you're holding it with your arm, you're holding it with your shoulders, And instead of having the scapula rotate and come around towards the spine and seeing that arm come straight back over the shoulder and, you know, rotate like that, you're gonna be holding on the shoulder joint and in the arm. So you're actually just gonna see, you know, a small movement here, or you'll see the arm come away from the face because the shoulder joint is moving versus the scapula moving. So just to kind of look at some different things there. And then also the other form of weak shot is just the shoulders creeping up. So that's a big one too. Maybe if you've had to hold for a really long time in the wind, or the shot's just not going off, or whatever it may be, your driving force when you're at full draw is you want to take the arms and push your shoulders down and back. That's the driving force that you have. And the longer you hold on there, if you're trying to relax all these muscles, you're not driving the shoulders down and back, you're letting them creep back up. And they'll start to creep up into your neck, and then you'll have, you know, a weak shot here. You know, you'll move off to the right. If you're a right-handed shooter, you'll see that, you know, shot dip off to the right. And a lot of things too, myself especially, I notice it when I have weak shots. I have a tendency to hold for a really long time, and then I'll push the bow hand away and I'll push the shot off. When you push a shot off like that, you'll notice a lot of times you'll swing off to the left, or, you know, different directions, but you'll have a big swing with the bow arm because you maybe, you know, when you see people bring up or back or side or something going on like that, it's because something's going wrong with that shot and they're trying to push that shot off. And with me, the way that I've developed my shot and the way that I aim, that's kind of built in there, and that is an issue for me. So I wanted to make sure that I bring that up so you can see that too, because there's two sides of that coin. You can collapse and come in, but then you can be trying to realize the problem and what's going on and push the shot off and do that, or you can, you know, jerk the shot back that way with the release. So just kind of look at it like that. What I'll say is, biggest thing for an archer is develop a shot routine. So set your feet in place the exact same way every time. Do that first. Make sure everything is set up throughout the body. You know, just kind of quickly here, I won't go through everything, but, you know, set that release or that bow arm out when you go to draw. Lean over a little bit over the front foot. It's going to help you set everything up, and you'll naturally come back at full draw to be set up in the middle of your body a little bit easier that way. And make sure you have good, you know, setting position of the arm. You know, be able to raise it straight up from the side, have it set in place, lean over, pull that release back. When you get to here, transfer that tension out of the neck and out of the shoulders into the back, and let that be your driving force. You can actually pull those shoulders down and push them down and pull them back, and that's what's going to hold you in place for your shot, and that's how you're going to get to anchor. So you're going to be here and then just push everything down, bring it back down into anchor. Make sure that you're feeling your back, really crank that elbow around, get everything locked in place back there, and hold that tension in your back. And then that's what's going to hold you good at full draw. So make sure you have a shot routine that you build every single time. Go over it in your head, say it in your head, say it out loud if you need to. Shot every time, you know, just go through it. Make sure that you build it up correctly, and just use all those resources to your advantage. So I'm going to go outside now. I've got a target set up. I'm going to grab my bow, and I'm going to talk through the same scenarios, what to look for, how the follow through is going to look different rather, how everything with the bow is going to be different as well. I've got a couple different camera angles I'm going to run so you can see movements differently, and just see what to look for in your own shots whenever you're doing it from your standpoint, so you can help self-diagnose on that. All right, so we got set up outside. I've got my bow now, and I'm gonna talk through different things to look at in your own shot, symptoms of, you know, strong shots, weak shots, you know, what might be happening, and let you see what that looks like. Now, just for reference on this first shot, I'm gonna make a normal shot. That's to be a good shot, just a strong, you know, normal shot for me. Keep an eye on the follow through, kind of look at, you know, how my hand comes back, you know, even my front arm, stuff like that, and just take a look at all that, and then we'll compare that into how things look later on whenever you have some weak shots in different scenarios. All right, so with that one, you'll notice good pull through with my arm. That's the biggest thing that I see in a lot of people. They relax too much, or they're not pulling through their shot, so their follow through is just click, and then you're arms, your hand stays there. You want that arm to come back, have it come across with the shoulder, let everything rotate and come around. Make sure you're using the back muscles. Telltale sign of not being able to use them is just watching the rotation. You can look, on video and just kind of see, maybe feel yourself, just depending on, what you can feel in your shot. But a lot of times, if you're holding really strong in your arm and you're not utilizing those back muscles, you have a lot of tension, you'll notice that just the shoulder rotates. That's all you've got. You want to be able to have that scapula actually come, move back over towards the spine, so you'll see the arm coming back. You'll see the hand rotate back like that. When it's windy and I'm having to pull really hard, I'll even have my arm come back and it'll almost pull my body around, just because I'm having to pull harder to hold as steady as I can within the wind. So on this next shot, I'm going to make a weak shot, basically just trying to over-relax everything. So we talked about before, relaxing the bow arm, up in the bow shoulders, and everything up in here, and basically what that's going to do is it's going to make your body basically be an accordion. So you're going to notice the shoulders start to come together. You may even start to bring them apart like that, and basically that bow is collapsing your body in half. So that's something to look at. Make a shot like that. Watch the follow through. It'll be a little bit different. My release hand and my bow arm. Sometimes when that happens as well, you'll catch it, or you'll maybe creep forward a little bit and you'll pull really hard all of a sudden. You'll see a jerk through your release, or even like with me, with the way that I aim and the way that I have my shot, I'll even push the bow off to the left, or miss to the left, push the shot off, sometimes miss even to the right, if I collapse really bad, because it'll just pull my body together. So I'm going to make a shot like that, and we'll see what the follow through looks like, and we'll talk through that as well. So you'll notice with that one, and I'll even show the target, hit over to the right of the target. My body was collapsing some, and I could feel myself kind of pushing together, this shoulder rotating this, direction there, and it let everything kind of move to the right some. But I also creep forward off the stops a couple times. Of course, with spiral cams, it's really hard to shoot a shot like that without really messing up, because your body will collapse. So you notice a back and forth with it, trying to kind of exaggerate everything for the video. I'm going to do one more. Basically on this, it's a scenario where you feel like you're probably pulling the bow apart, but you're not. You're creeping forward, and it's because the front shoulder is not set, and it's allowing it to creep up. So it'll start creeping up and then coming back in, and then you may even start shrugging on both sides, and that's because you're not setting that muscle transfer going into the back, and you're not using that back to hold the bow up. You're not using your back on your release side to pull the arm back through there. So I'm going to make a shot like that, and kind of telltale signs on that. Holding a really long time, that's a pretty big one. If you have to hold a long time, your muscles start to break down. You're pushing your shoulders down and out. That starts to break through because of muscles, and then you'll just start to creep up. So you'll notice kind of hold times will go up on there. You'll feel like you're pulling the bow apart. You may be shaking, but it's just because your bone-to-bone structure is breaking down. So the bone structure throughout the shoulder, and into the elbow, and through the release side, it's breaking down. It's allowing you to kind of creep up. So, just kind of look out for that. That's another one where you're relaxing too long, or just trying to have too much of a relaxed shot. So a lot of times with those, and you'll notice right there too, the type of shot that I have, it's really more of a pull. So I utilize my back and I pull. I'm not pulling a lot, I'm not pulling hard, I'm not really rotating my elbow around or doing anything like that. It's a straight back pull along with some manipulation on the release. So when your shoulders start to creep up, you feel like you're pulling, but you can't go anything through, so you have to really manipulate the release. So either punching the trigger, rotating the hinge, something like that, because you can't get your natural pull just to get the shot to go off. So you want to look out for those scenarios as well. I'm going to turn the camera around here, let you look at the target. I'll get it zoomed in. So we've got 3 shots on there. Let me get the camera a little bit better so it's not me shaking around. So we've got 3 shots on there. That one straight in the middle, that's my normal shot. The one that's on the right hand side, those 2 on the right, that's the creeping shots. And that one on the far right, that's the lower side, that's going to be that last shot that I did where I really had to you know, manipulate the release to get it to go off. And then, you know, like I said, both on the right, just the body is collapsing in the arm, you know, the bow arm's coming across. You'll get those collapse to the right. I'm going to do one more of each in same succession: strong shot, weak shot where my body kind of collapses together, and then the last shot where my shoulders scrunch up, and do a different camera angle so you can see it and kind of see the follow through and what the bow might be doing from a different angle. Alright, so I got a different viewpoint on the camera here. It's the same sequence as before. First one's going to be my normal shot. Just watch for the follow through and kind of how it looks. And then you can compare it to the last shots as well. And it's not going to be a lot different on my follow through, you know, just because I'm still having to pull. I have a spiral cam bow. You'll see it more pronounced on bows that have a big valley. You don't have to pull as much holding weight. One thing to look at too is just watch for the movement. You'll see more movement as you start to collapse. You'll see bobbing up and down, you know, with different you know, muscles relaxing and collapsing through. So just kind of look for it like that. This camera angle will show it a little bit differently. So you'll notice on my normal follow through, my bow arm will kind of, you know, push out and to the left, and my release arm's going to come straight back and go over my, you know, my shoulder and everything. So we'll compare that to some of these other ones that are weaker shots now. So with that one, you see I didn't move very much because I wasn't pulling very hard. My muscles are starting collapsing. So with that one, my arm didn't come very far out. You'll also notice that my follow through on my bow, it didn't come out and around to the left very much because I wasn't, you know, engaged in that shot with pushing the bow and holding it out there. It's kind of the same thing on that one. You even notice, like at first, because I'm not setting up the same, that, you know, I wanted to creep forward and I had to pull it back to the stops, just because I'm not setting that front shoulder very well, and also not transferring the weight into my back to lock that back into place. And you know, when you're doing that, you're allowing your muscles in your neck to creep up and, you know, hold a lot of tension there. So when your shot finally goes off, there's not a lot of movement out because you're not pushing out. You know, with the strong shot, your front arm is down, it's holding out, and your back arm is down and pulling back. So when you release, your follow through is going to naturally go that way. And then when you have those weaker shots, they won't. So I hope, you know, this kind of gives some little insight on there and gives you something to think about, something to maybe look at on your own shots and start working through it. You know, and just try to make relaxed shots, but relax in the correct way, and still be active in it and still make good shots on target. Appreciate you watching this video, and keep an eye out for next week for the next one.